Hello and welcome to everybody. We are now starting our info session. We're very happy to see you so many stakeholders involved in cooperation that joined us today. We are going to launch today the grant on cross-border energy communities, and this is the first info session dedicated to this common call. Perhaps to start, this info session will take 1 hour. So we kindly ask you to switch off your micro. The session will be recorded so that you or others might look it up afterwards and will be put on the website, on the dedicated. And now I present myself, Silvia Gobert-Kekes from the CBC team and MOT, one of the organizations. We now present very shortly the agenda. We will start with the opening by DG REGIO. We are very happy to have with us Jean-Pierre Alquin today. He will be joined by the organizer who worked with us on the call for proposals we are going to present to you today. We will be also followed by the two organizations MOT and AEBR. After this short introduction, we will present you more generally speaking, what are the concepts, what are the definitions, where this call comes from, cross-border energy communities and quasi-cross-border energy communities, to, in a third step, present you more in detail the call for proposals, we are going to open today until the 21st of November, and end with question and answers from your side in the end. If you have any questions in between, please feel free to write them in the chat and we will pass them on to the speaking persons. And now I'm very happy to pass the floor to Jean-Pierre Alquin, Head of Unit DG REGIO of Interreg Cross-Border Cooperation and Internal Borders. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Sylvia, and good afternoon, everyone from sunny Brussels. I'm very excited that we are at the stage where we are going to launch a call for pilot on cross-border energy communities. I will say a few words about three things. First, why are cross-border energy communities so important to us? And we are pleased that they are also important to you. And the second is, what is the Commission already doing for this topic, so that you can have the perspective as we will then present to you the call which is going to be launched today. First of all, a few words about cross-border energy communities. As Sylvia mentioned it, we speak about renewable energies or quasi-renewable energies. We are going to define that from a technical point of view. But cross-border energy communities are important because of two things, because we speak about energy communities and because we add to that the cross-border dimension. And I will just say a few words, because at the end we speak about political choice that everyone, every citizen, every person working or living in the EU has to do at some stage in their life. Whenever we speak about renewable energy, we know why opting for that rather than opting for energy produced with fossil fuel is so important for us. We just need to read the press to see that the climate is changing and that our world is getting hotter and hotter, and that it's urgent to reduce our carbon footprint. But we also know that opting for renewable energy is also a way to finalize further the decoupling between the European economy and also the economy of all producing countries. And in Europe, we have a big concern with one of them, which is the largest of the planet, which is Russia. And so it is also touching this aspect, which is important. And whenever we speak about cross-border energy communities, we speak also about something else which is extremely important and which is the raison d'être of the team I'm leading. It is also to make sure that if you want to go for renewable energy, and if you want to go for communities supporting renewable energy, you will not be hampered in your will to progress by a border. Because building communities in Europe today is very important. We want to have a Europe which is very resilient, and a resilient Europe starts from the bottom, from the citizen and the communities themselves. And whenever we speak about a cross-border community, it's really at the heart of the European construction, where we want citizens of Europe to be able to build something together, but also to trust and believe in each other because they want to build a common future. We've been behind this for years, behind those cross-border energy communities. We've invested a lot, and I will just mention two ways we've been supporting that. First, the cross-border energy communities can be supported by INTREC programs. You know that they receive an allocation which is exceeding slightly 10 billion euro. And if we look at cohesion policy, INTREC is much greener than the rest of the cohesion policy because it's also targeting topics which are where the green is certainly promoted differently. So in INTREC program, we have the policy objective number 2, which is a greener Europe. We have an INTREC specific objective number 1, which is the governance of cross-border region. And we have also an objective, policy objective number 5, which is Europe closer to citizens. And whenever we speak about supporting communities, what can be a better way to have Europe closer to citizens than by supporting communities? So INTREC program are supporting the green. They are investing a lot in renewable energy, and they may support cross-border communities, energy communities. But we were missing something that was very important, is how can we develop a cross-border energy communities? And we've been addressing this by developing a handbook. It was really a major investment. I'm sure that Delia will join us and may provide more information about this handbook. If you're interested by energy communities, I invite you to read it because it answers mostly the following 4 questions. First, what is a cross-border energy community? What are the forms of cooperation and what are the benefits you can expect from a cross-border energy community? What are the existing stories of energy communities that you can replicate in other EU cross-border regions? And what are the obstacles that you will need to address if you want to go into that way? So with the INTREC programs and the handbook, we had many things already available in order to boost the development of cross-border energy community. And the last one that was needed was what we need to start the pump running. And this is very much the purpose of the call for project in order to support pilot on cross-border energy communities. And today, we are opening this call that will remain open up to November 2025. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much for this interesting context information introduction, because of the importance, you strike the importance of the topic, the interest to treat it also in a cross-border context. And we very much support. You will see for those interested in the handbook, you will have the opportunity afterwards in the slides to scan the direct link to it. I think it would be, I would like to pass on the floor to the co-organizations now. So to MOT, first of all, Jean Perroni as Director General, who is co-organizing with AEBR, the Association of European Border Regions, the current grant.
Thank you, Sylvia. Well, good afternoon to everybody. MOT is very happy to cooperate with AEBR and RESCOP for DG REGIO and this call. energy is obviously a major priority at global and European level, and cross-border cooperation in this sector is rather new. But Jean-Pierre has already given many reasons why it's interesting and important to work on these cross-border energy communities. I will just underline one point which seems important to us. It's the fact that energy policies remain often encapsulated within national frameworks. And to overcome these national frameworks and to think cross-border and to think European is full of opportunities and also full of challenges. But we believe that if we overcome these challenges with the help of this project, we can really face new perspectives and build something. Building Europe through building cross-border cooperation and building these cross-border energy communities is really a very interesting topic. We hope that you will be numerous to propose innovative answers to our call, and we will try to provide you with appropriate assistance in the months to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jean. So the first introduction, the second co-organizer, I give the floor to Martin Guillermo Ramirez, Secretary General of AEBR, seeing the second cross-border input in the grant, and I'm very pleased to pass the floor.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. Dear colleagues, dear Jean-Pierre, Jean, colleagues from the MOT, colleagues in the team of AEBR, also colleagues from RESCOP, and especially those who are connected to know more about this call. As my colleagues in the MOT has already mentioned, we are really happy for this exercise, which is nothing new, but very ambitious. But I think we should be very thankful for being in this moment in life in the EU, where we have people like Jean-Pierre and his team in DG REGIO, that they really believe on what is moving in cross-border cooperation. The whole DG REGIO since 2017, since the publishing of the famous communication, we have been able to do a lot of things. First, we were enjoying this Interreg for so many years. There are so many structures, but the AEBR, the European institutions have made possible to have EGTCs to implement even particular services, going beyond projects into more strategic implementation. Then the communication made possible to identify, analyze many cross-border obstacles, and with this we were able to implement these solutions, which is, as the Commission says very often, a drop on the ocean, but has given a lot of arguments to show that there are many obstacles to overcome. Then also thanks to an initiative by the MOT with dreaming of a cross-border convention, now we have the bridge for EU after so many, 10 years and so many things. But finally we have something which is probably not perfect, but what we could dream of, but it's an obligation for member states to continue considering the issue of cross-border obstacles. So with this framework that the Commission, the European institutions, because also the Parliament, the Committee of the Regions, have supported very much, now they have given us the responsibility of going a step forward. First, we have been able to test this possibility with the issue spatial planning and crisis management, where there are already almost 20 pilot actions running. And now we have the big issue, energy communities. Okay, everybody's talking about energy communities everywhere. The reasons are clearly what Jean-Pierre has highlighted. And also, I would add that everybody's looking at the European Union for many things. Everybody's looking at the European Union for democratic practices. Everybody's looking at the European Union for territorial cooperation, the spirit in cohesion and subsidiarity. Everybody's looking at the European Union as the one who is fulfilling the international commitments regarding climate change and environment in general. And now everybody is going to look to the European Union. What are they doing with the energy communities, with the participation of the citizens in the management of energy, a major resource? I think we are in the middle of enormous step in which a kind of socialization of energy, where we have to deal with different layers of government, the private companies which are dealing with energy, the current challenges, the transformation, the transition which many regions are undergoing. And then at the border, even we want to establish cross-energy communities. But I think it's an excellent exercise. The handbook mentioned also by Jean-Pierre and Jean provides clear definitions, being very modest, and even including the concept of quasi-energy, cross-border energy communities. I think this is very relevant because this let us make everything very, very flexible and to support already existing initiatives or maybe very interesting plans. Here we are looking forward really to your contributions. And in this exercise, we are going to learn more about the governance of cross-border processes to do more things together. So we are all committed and we are really looking forward to the different stakeholders, how they participate in this call from tomorrow on. So really happy to exchange with you in further sessions and to know more about your experiences with energy at the border. Thank you very much. And thank you, Sylvia, I give you the floor back.
Thank you very much for this statement. I completely agree. We very much thank you, the DG REGIO, for being visionary on this topic because you have to be. Energy communities is already a topic that might have obstacles in a national ground, but we push it further in a cross-border context. This is really innovative, and we're very happy to be part of this visionary aspects and progress. As you see on the following slide, this is the partnership of the current call. You just heard DG REGIO, MOT, and AEBR, and we are supported and helped by a third entity concerning the technical support, RESCOP. You will hear them later when we talk about the methodology we will use in the call. But no longer I will stay in the introduction, but I pass the floor on to the definition part and the content part, which will be presented by my colleague Alice Duré, who will explain, first of all, what are quasi and cross-border energy communities and the different concepts, so that you more easily can see where you could enter into the call, because you are all very much welcome to apply to the current call. Alice, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sylvia, for giving me this task to try to explain you quite synthetically what are these cross-border energy communities. So if we can go to the next slide, maybe. Thank you. So first of all, maybe just a point of attention. Just to say that this call will be based on this handbook on cross-border energy communities, which was published a few months back. I warmly invite you to consult this handbook because it will have very detailed information on everything you need to know about this topic. You have the link here and you will have the presentation after. You can also scan the QR code if you already want to have a look at it right after the session. So I will refer to this handbook quite often in the presentation. And yeah, I hope you will go see it because it's a very interesting, and there are like much more details on every definitions that I will address right after. I will try to stay quite concise so that it's not lasting hours, but if you need any explanation, you can also go see the handbook. Next slide. I don't see it. Thank you. So basically, what is a cross-border energy community? It's renewable energy community or a citizen energy community as defined by the EU legislation, but of a cross-border nature. So I don't know to what extent you are all very commonly acquainted with these definitions, but citizen energy communities and renewable energy communities are defined in the EU legislation by the Renewable Energy Directive and the Internal Energy Market Directive. So it's legally defined in EU legislation. But what is interesting also for us is that the importance of cross-border cooperation is also taken into account by these directives, and they include the possibility of creating cross-border renewable energy communities or cross-border citizen energy communities when transposed in the national law by the member states. So this is an opportunity that has been given by this directive, and it is also why there is this handbook and why there is this call. So it's really the basis. And to go into a bit more detail on what is first the cross-border energy community and then the quasi. The cross-border energy community, it should be a legal entity which is based on voluntary and open participation in both border regions of a same cross-border region, and which is effectively controlled by member or shareholders of the cross-border region where it is set and where it operates. So the shareholders, we will talk a bit more about it later, but can be natural persons, local authorities, small and medium-sized enterprises, so the usual members of an energy community. But what is important about these cross-border energy communities is that the cross-border integration that I mentioned is quite strong. It's operational, so there should be also a physical or functional energy cooperation across the border, and it must involve cross-border provision or other type of activities of related to energy services or energy provision through the border. So for instance, it can be a shared generation or supply infrastructures of electricity across the border. And then, so it's a quite complete definition. You also have a more loose definition or a more open definition, which is the quasi-cross-border energy community, which is based on the same principle, but the cross-border integration is a bit lighter. It means that the cross-border integration is more organizational. So it can be a collaboration through joint management, funding, or resources. So this can be cross-border, even though there is no physical energy flow across the border. So it's not required in the activities of a quasi-cross-border energy community that the energy or services will cross the border. Activities can take place in one side of the border regions or separately on both sides. But what is important is that there will be cross-border cooperation for the management, the funding, or the resources. So for instance, there can be a shared funding mechanism for a project. So you can see here the possible activities that these cross-border energy communities or quasi-cross-border energy communities can engage in. So there are the classical more operational activities such as cross-border generation, distribution, or supply of energy. Also activities related to energy storage, energy efficiency services. It can also meet activities such as charging services for electric vehicles. So it's quite a broad set of activities, not only hard in a way activities of like sharing energy through the borders, but also energy services such as, for instance, raising awareness about energy efficiency across the border can be a type of activity that is done by an energy community. So it's quite broad. If we can go to the next slide. So I won't get into too much detail here. And once again, it's all very well detailed in the handbook, but just to stress that there are many benefits that you can find in implementing a quasi or cross-border energy community. Of course, the usual economic, social, and environmental benefits of an energy community, but making it cross-border can really also play in the efficiency gains and economic benefits that you can have from this community by system cost savings, for instance. Also the fact of complementary effects. For instance, a case at the French-German border where there is an enterprise that emits a lot of heat. And on the other side, in Strasbourg, there was like the municipality wanted to green their heat district system. And so they made a joint enterprises so that the French side would have back the heat from the German side. So in this way, there was a complementarity between the need of the French side and the resources available on the German side. So typically, it's the kind of win-win situation where it is very interesting to have this type of community. And other way you can reduce also the dependency on imports and centralized energy supply, especially in times of high volatility sometimes of the markets, pooling knowledge and technology resources in the cross-border regions, and many more benefits. And of course, and I see in the chat that you are already mentioning some obstacles. There are, of course, some challenges and obstacles to establish this type of cross-border energy communities. Mainly legal obstacles are, as you stressed in the chat, which are the majority of obstacles at EU level, but also national, regional legislation, administrative obstacles as well, physical or technical, but also financial and sometimes governance. And that's why there is this call, and that we are all here today is to bring support to overcome these challenges and make it possible to implement these cross-border energy communities. So maybe next slide, please. I'm not going to be very long anymore on this, but just so that you can make it a bit more clearer, there are in the handbook many examples of existing cross-border energy communities, quasi-cross-border or related initiatives that were mapped in the EU. So I think it's 27. I've just put some specific example here so that you can see the variety of initiatives that can be encompassed in cross-border energy communities. The first example is the Efiduero Douro initiative, so at the Spanish-Portuguese border. And it's a European cooperative society that was launched as a cross-border European energy exchange cooperative by municipalities located so along the border of this EGTC. And so the activities, for instance, of this community, cross-border energy community, is based on a non-profit marketing of electricity. And so the energy is produced from solar panels in the cross-border region and then integrated into the distribution network through shared self-consumption. So in the handbook, for instance, this example is classified as a real cross-border energy community. And then you have a second example, which is one of a quasi-cross-border energy community, which is Suzam Solar Colmar, so at the French-German border. And so here it's an entity was created, so Altora PV SARL, which is like the partners are French and German cooperatives, energy cooperatives. And so the activity of this cooperative is to produce and distribute electricity on the French side only of the border. So the solar panels are located on the French side. The electricity is put in the French energy system, but the financing of the initiative is cross-border. So it's also with the German energy cooperative. So that's why it's a quasi-cross-border energy community. So I hope these two examples help to make it a bit clearer for you, the distinction between the two. And then I won't go into the details very much of these two examples, but it's to show you that there are also other types of activities that can be encompassed by these communities. So one example of a quasi or other relevant initiative would be the network Trion Climate, which is in the Upper Rhine area, and which is a network between lots of partners in this area that are interested into climate and energy transition. And so they organize events, training courses, visits, and awareness raising activities in the field of notably energy transition, for instance, around geothermal energy, hydrogen, and so on. So they promote innovation and knowledge. And is one of the energy services that can be encompassed also in the activities of an energy community at the cross-border level, and also so supported by the call. And the last project, similarly, is more about, so it's located in the Danube region, and it aims to build local partnerships for reducing the fossil energy demand of district heating systems, so in the Eastern Danube region. So similarly, it's not producing energy or distributing it across the border, but it's about raising awareness and creating knowledge about how you can decarbonize the heating system. And so across the border with different programs and systems that are put in place. So just to show that there are really different types of activities, I did not put projects about electric mobility here, but it is also one of the possible activities that can be done. So for instance, you have in the handbook different examples of e-bike sharing systems across the border. So if you want more details and to see the whole variety of projects, I warmly invite you again to look at the handbook, because you have all these examples that are very interesting and inspiring in it. And now I maybe will let the floor to Rescop if they want to say a word, because as you saw, there are many different types of projects about energy communities that can be done. It's also a very complex notion, and you need time and different steps to set it up. And that's why in the call, we will base the technical support on the LISH methodology that Rescop designed in order to accompany energy communities in the process of their development. So it will be for the energy communities that want to emerge, but also for already existing projects that want to develop further, especially their cross-border dimensions, for instance. And that's why the idea is also to analyze at the beginning of the project where the project is at in these different steps, and then where they want to go. So maybe, I don't know, Dirk from Rescop, if you want to say a word on this methodology, or otherwise we will tackle it later. But,
actually, you did it very well. So we will tailor the assistance on the cross-border energy community or quasi-cross-border energy community. As first we will see where they are in their development, and then tailor the assistance to their needs. Yeah. But you introduced it very well.
Thank you very much. So we pass to the next slide. And now we pass on. So the methodology you just saw, it's about to pass from one step to another to advance in the process. And now, more concrete, we pass on to the call for proposals. And both MOT and AEBR will present you the content of the call. So I pass the floor to Marianne and to Anouk.
Yes, thank you very much. Let's now dive into the details of the call indeed, looking first at the objective. So the aim of the call is to select 7 pilot actions to participate in a targeted support initiative for developing cross-border energy communities. So for emerging initiative, we will support interesting stakeholders who seek to explore the process of setting up and growing the energy community. But also for existing initiative, we will assist those stakeholders in advancing their project toward a CBEC or a quasi-CBEC. I'm using the acronym because it will be very much present in our exchanges. But the progress of the pilot action will be tracked using the LISH methodology that was presented just before. This methodology will provide structured support for communities to move from one development stage to another. For instance, transitioning from awareness to emergence or eventually to development or post-development, depending on the capacity. But this will be discussed throughout the pilot action in collaboration with ResCoop. And basically, going forward, each selected pilot action will produce a roadmap that identify the progress in establishing or developing the energy community in the border region. Thank you. Moving on to the how. How are we going to achieve this objective? The selected pilot action will receive two types of support. First of all, financial support to implement the necessary task needed in the pilot action. For that, the beneficiary will receive up to 15,000 euros to implement that activities. And I'll detail a bit later the type of activities that are eligible. Secondly, they will also receive technical support by ResCoop, who will guide them into developing their communities. This will take place with four aspects. First of all, an onboarding interview. ResCoop will support the beneficiaries during this interview to identify the needs that they have and help them map their stakeholders when relevant, if it's something that has not yet been done. Secondly, each pilot action will benefit from 2 in-person workshops based on the need analysis that would have been done during the onboarding interview. And the topics of the workshop will be relevant for the development of their community. So they will be adapted and tailored to the needs that would have been assessed. Also, thirdly, throughout the implementation of the pilot action, ResCoop will dedicate continuous technical support for each pilot action. And finally, there will be peers-to-peers webinars that will be organized for all pilot action to join and benefit from common learnings and good practices. Now let's see who is eligible to apply. And I think that's a very important question for many of the participants here. So first of all, cross-border entities are eligible. So here we talk about the usual stakeholders, so EGTC, the European Grouping for Territorial Cooperation, Euro regions, or similar cross-border structures which have a legal personality. Secondly, local and regional authorities of border regions can apply, as well as citizens, cooperative with legal personality, NGO associations, but also SMEs. So the scope of eligible applicant is quite large. And something very important to note is that the application needs to involve a partner from the other side of the same border, except if the applicant is a cross-border entity. In that case, it's not mandatory. Some points of intention as well is that there is no maximum limit to the number of partners. However, we invite you to consider the feasibility of the proposal. And last thing to note on this slide is that a single national person cannot be considered as a partner. Now looking at the geographical scope, the eligible applicants must be located in NUTS-3 land border regions of a European Economic Area member states or Switzerland, that is to say one of the 27 EU member states, or Liechtenstein, Norway, or Switzerland. And this call for proposal is focused on land border regions. However, proposal involving CBEC or quasi-CBEC or installations along maritime border regions may be considered, but only if they align with the objectives and the eligibility criteria. And yes, moving on to the eligibility activities, we have a different set of activities here. This list is not exhaustive, so there will be more potential eligible activities for you to imagine. It's just to give you an idea. I won't read all of them here, but first there will be activities related to engaging stakeholders. For instance, launching public awareness campaigns, developing training programs for public officials, technical experts, citizens, and of course, engaging citizen and local stakeholders on the cross-border energy initiative on the ground. There will be also activities related to local and governance aspects, such as conducting feasibility studies to determine the most suitable legal and governance structure for a cross-border energy community. Or even if it's more advanced, why not preparing the necessary steps to set up this legal entity, establishing the cross-border energy community framework. Activities related to technical and spatial planning are also eligible. For instance, preparing spatial or technical and administrative documentations, and mapping energy demand, supply infrastructure, and renewable resource potential. Looking at the infrastructure, if the pilot action wants to explore developing infrastructure, it's also possible as an activity. For instance, by designing and planning cross-border infrastructure projects or setting up shared services and infrastructure for electromobility. And finally, last but not least, we thought of the possibility for applicants to have activities related to financing and investing, if they want, for instance, to develop joint business models or explore economic opportunity for joint renewable energy generation, distribution, or sharing of the energy. And I will now pass the floor to Anouk, who will present you more in detail the application procedure for the call.
Thank you, Marianne. I'll continue, yes, with the by introducing the application procedure for the call. So each pilot action should submit an application on the website only. You will have a form available on the website on the page how to apply. And the application should only be made through the form, and you will have the possibility to join the annexes on the same page. The annex will be available also on the website. You will have the templates documents for your calendar, budget, and the declaration of partnership. Through the application, we will ask you to provide a short description of your energy community, of your project of setting an energy community, and a description of your pilot action and information about your cross-border partnership. You can attach also additional documents to provide more detail on your application, which will help us during the selection process. The application must be made in English or in French. The forms are in English, and you can also fill them in your own language, but then use the European Commission translation tool, e-translation tool, to translate it in English or in French. So you will have until the 21st of November to submit your application, which is a Friday. And after that, we will organize with MOT and AEBR a short eligibility check. Please be aware that during the eligibility check, if we have questions, we might reach back to you, and you will only have 5 days to give more information. So please be available during that period. We will then disclose the result on January 2026. And then each pilot action will have 12 months to implement their projects. So from March 2026 to February 27. Coming back a little on the selection criteria, we will evaluate your project mainly on 3 criteria, which are quality, relevance, and impact. So you will have to score an above 24 points over 40 to be considered eligible for the selection criteria, and then we will select the 7 highest pilot actions that have scored the highest grade. You will be notified then in January 2026. Since this is a lot of technical information as well, we will have a second info session on September 8th to give you again the same kind of information and to on other if you have questions that arise during this time after reading during the first few months the call of proposal. All this information on the presentation from today will be available on the website and through the call of proposal, which is also already available on our website. And since we're coming to the end of this session, I will pass the floor to Jean, and we will also open the floor to questions.
Manu, the floor is open. You can ask questions either through the chat or directly to us, as we are not too many. There have been already questions in the chat that have been more or less answered. So I don't propose to express them, but you are free to ask questions from now. Perhaps there is the last question in the chat. What is approximately the length of the application form? Well, I think the best is to go to the website and to see, but perhaps while we wait for the questions, there was one question from Euro-Région Pyrénées-Méditerranée. I think Martin answered quite clearly. I mean, it's very clear that the two regions that have a terrestrial border are fully eligible, and the fact to also include the cooperation with the island of Balear can be proposed, because it's I think Anouk already explained that maritime is not the core of the call, but might be considered. But in the case of where you have already a terrestrial border, I mean, you can go. Okay. There are new. Yes, there is an exchange about the length of the application. So it's closer to 10 pages. It's not a Horizon Europe call. Please don't be shy. You can also ask directly questions. Yes, we had also an answer about Ukraine. Unfortunately, it's not possible for Ukraine to answer. About the budget, yes, I think it's clear. It's
I try a question. Could I ask a question? I try one.
Yes.
Okay. You explain quasi-border community in Dutchland, but I don't understand why it is a quasi-community. What is the reason of this definition?
Perhaps Alice, yes, please.
Yes, I can answer. The difference is that it is quasi because there is no physical exchange of energy through the border. So in the example of the French-German example I gave is that the solar panels of the community are in France. The energy is going into the French system. So the activities are only located on the French side. They do not go to the German side. But there is a cross-border dimension in the financing, because it's financed by French and German cooperatives. So it's the difference. It's not physical link. It's more in the financing or in the human resources. I mean, it depends on each project. But I don't know if it's clearer for you.
Yes, to define a cross-border community, it must be an exchange of electricity or...
I mean, a fully advanced cross-border energy community it should be, but that's why there is this quasi cross-border energy community notion, because we know in most cases it's difficult to achieve. So that's why.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. We have a question about Andorra. Is it possible to have a project with Andorra? I leave the colleagues try to answer.
It's a very good question. It is EEA countries actually, so it might be not possible to include Andorra, unfortunately.
Okay. Yes, there is a question from Leir, from Nouvelle-Aquitaine, Euskadi Navarre. It's about the way to enter the call. I have no idea. You see it in the chat. Should they go through the creation or development? I guess it's not that important. I mean, provided that that the answer to the call is clear and that you explain properly what you intend to do, I think it's not that important.
Yes, maybe to complement Jean, I mean the idea is that in the call when you apply the application form, we ask you to describe a bit the project. If you already know, tell us where you are at and what type of community you want to develop. But the idea is that we have information, and if we need further details, we will ask you. But it depends for the creation or development if it's already created or not. But don't worry, it's okay if it's in the between. Just you have to explain it a bit in the application form, but it's open to any stages of initiative.
Exactly. I confirm what Alice just said. So the idea is that you will have an onboarding interview in any case, and there you would be able to strike exactly if finally it is more a development from the beginning or an advancing within the existing. So it really is it's open to both new initiatives but also ongoing ones.
There is a question about the contact about eligibility criteria, and Marianne answered in the chat. There is an email where you can ask your questions. cbec@mot.adso.fr. Do you have other questions? Please don't be shy.
We have 5 minutes left, so we're very, very pleased to hear. So we understand that the eligibility is one of the main questions at the time being. And please feel free, as stated, Marianne, to come back to us by written also, so you will give you a more concrete and more detailed or tailored answer to your specific question.
Is it possible to start from a blank page? I guess yes, if your project is properly explained and defined. Am I true, Sylvia?
It is definitely open to new initiatives, so you might start from the beginning. We know it is, as we stated before, it might be difficult to set up such settings, especially perhaps in a cross-border context. But we didn't want to exclude very interesting initiatives. And the aim at the end of the project is you have several steps. The first step, you saw the handbook. It gives good input, good ideas, good examples. We now have this grant, and further on, we like to be able to transfer the ideas or the methodology or the things that didn't function to others afterwards. So we really think our grant as a process. I don't know if it answers to the remark of Nicolas.
And maybe just to add to what Sylvia said for also the new initiatives, the idea is not to set up like from A to Z, like a full cross-border energy communities in a year. It's really this grant to help you move from one step to another. If you are at the very beginning, maybe form a partnership, find who you are going to associate with, what the project is going to be. If you're already an existing project which is quite advanced, it could be on further stages to specify some things to help you move forward in further integrating it at the cross-border level. But anyway, it will be very tailored support addressing your specific needs. So every stage is welcome.
Martin, you want to say something?
You mute. We don't hear you.
Now, thank you very much. I have the impression that there was some doubts about the form. We don't have a form. I want just to confirm here that in section 4.1 of the call for proposals, you can find all the items that you have to fulfill in your application, but we haven't established a proper form. So I think this was the question about the blank page, that yeah, you have to start in a blank page, but fulfill 4.1, you have all the items. This could be the title of the chapters in your application. And in the following section, you have the documents that you have to provide also to be taken into account.
To complete, perhaps, so the elements of the application, we will both set them on a Word document so that you can see all the questions that will be asked that come from the call for proposals, and then you can fill them in directly. It is not a separate form, but it is an online form that will be online for very soon, directly available via the website, and you complete directly the items and the questions on the website. So you're not on a blank page, but you fill in not a separate form either. So it really is on the website in the section application and call for proposals. So you are guided. You're guided in filling in the documents, and as said Anouk before, this directly available online form, you might use it to upload also the documents, the annex documents that will be required and requested, where you will also find on the website the templates for them. So everything you will be guided in the process of application, and these the complete form, it's more to 10 pages than to 100. I hope it is a little more clear to you.
Yes, Marianne has put the link to the application form. So there are many information on the website, and also obviously the preliminary study that DG REGIO has provided. So you have many information, and you can also ask us questions.
Perhaps I see Delia is with us, who prepared intensively the call for proposals with us. Perhaps if she wants to take the floor, I don't know, or we would be very happy.
Many thanks, dear. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you to the great team that is going to follow this project. So AEBR, MOT, and the support of RESCO provided. We are waiting to see a bit the results also of this call for pilots to keep on learning together with you on how we can improve our support to these initiatives on the ground. So do not be scared about the full definition of cross-border energy community, as I've been hearing also through the questions. It's really a step-by-step process in which we try to enhance the European integration process and also these initiatives on the ground, on local level. So very happy to be here with you today, and many thanks again to the whole team that is implementing this exciting project.
Many thanks to you for your great support. So here you see the CBC team. So especially very many people, because we marked all of them that are joined in the meeting today. So don't be afraid, but you have persons to address to, and we will answer via the email address that you see on the top of it. So now we just passed 2 minutes over 4 o'clock. As we said before, we will have a second info session with more concrete detail. If you advance perhaps in your reflection on your ideas on the call, we're very happy to have shared this info session. I hope it became a little bit clearer to you, the call, what it is about, and the context. And we are very much looking forward to your application. We hope many to be in order to advance in this innovative and very perspective topic. Thank you so much.